And a lot of people want to say like it doesn't matter where it started. It does matter.
It does matter. It does matter. That's BS. It doesn't matter.
Like there are only, there were at one time, there were 4 of us who controlled the graffiti culture. Mm-hmm. That was Cornbread, Banksy, Bosquell, and Keith Haring. Mm. While they was running things, I was anticipating a substance abuse addiction. I was into heroin and cocaine and running amok back and forth to jail and you know, making babies, and my life was out of control. And I used to hear about Bosquell and Ron and Keith Harrington, and I thought they were the upcoming graffiti stars who had taken my place, right? So I would be in the shooting gallery, man, shooting drugs, and guys want to talk conversations about graffiti, and somebody said, y'all know what this is? I said, hold up, shh, be quiet, don't do that. Yeah. Don't fucking do that, don't do that. Why? Just don't do that, don't do that. Pose 2, you know from Pose 2?
Nah.
Pose 2 gave an event. He moved from New York and came to Philly, and he gave an event at the B-Boy Barbecue. My barber used to cut my hair, and he'd say, cut my hair, I'd be so tired, looking so damn bad, I've been going to sleep. He said, Braid, you got to come back, man, you got to come back. And I'd be listening to him. He said, man, like people are talking about in this graffiti culture, you've been around all of this, caught up in this drug shit, man, you can't do for yourself, man. I told the people that I know you, and I can get you to come to the show. Braid, they're gonna give you some money, they can come get you in a limousine. All you got to do is be sober and be available to show up. I said, all right, I'll be there. They come and get me. So my son outside the door, he said, Dad, it's a guy outside this crazy car, told me to tell you to come on. I goes outside, he got this 1964 Chevy station wagon, suit, car bouncing and rocking and the music blaring out, and all the kids went out to look at the car. And he said, tell your dad, come on. He said, Dad, he said for you to come on. I go to the door, I said, what's up? Park the car, come on in. He comes up, come on, Brad, come on. I waited about a half an hour. I saw this roll out. We get there, we go a half a block from the vent. He used to button in the car, and got the rocket, heard the music up, and he started creeping up. And they had a Cornbread t-shirt and spit. That's Cornbread! And everybody just rushed the car. That's the very first time in my drug addiction. I've been on drugs, man, like 10, 12 years. I was like subculture. I didn't come up for air or anything, man. I came up for air and went to this event. They rushed me like I was Elvis or somebody.
Ain't that so?
And they was pushing through the crowd, and it was people going to autograph and take pictures of me and touch me and shake my hand. I said, I'm still drug crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like, the fuck? They take me to the second floor to Pose 2 apartment. All these hip hop magazines have mics in my mouth. Where you been, man? Where's so much? I couldn't believe this shit. And so I tried to tell you, motherfucker, you better get your act together, man. I said, I don't believe this shit. I left there, the next day I checked and found my rehab.
I gotta say, was that the click?
Yeah, that was the click. Picasso was the first. He was back in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
Right. And then it was me, and then it was Bosquell, Keith Harrington, then Banksy. Bosquell, one of the greatest street artists in the world, checked out. As a result of substance abuse.
That's right.
And when he checked out, guess what he took with him?
What's that?
My crown. When I came home in '67, I wrote on walls 2 years alone, by myself, writing on Philadelphia city walls by myself.
Just a straight vandal.
Right.
I mean,
And
really.
I'm coming in one night, and I seen these cats on the corner of my block busting on each other. So I walks up and I started listening to him. I got my laugh off, and after about 5 minutes, 10 minutes of that, I walked across the street. I wanted these guys to know who I was. My jacket, Cornbread. They went across the street. That's you? I said, yeah. So Titty said, well, like, can I just spray paint? I said, yeah, can I write my name? He wrote Titty. He wrote the emblem, Delta, Phi, Soul. I said, what does that mean? He said, that's the club we in, man. Join us, Cornbread. Come on, join us. We'd love to have you with us, man. I said, I'll join you. But Miss Titty went out a lot. I write Cornbread, write Titty 10 times. And one day he wrote Titty, King of the Walls. I said, Titty, you can't write that. Why? Because you're not the fucking king. I'm the king. I brought you in there. You've been away about 2-3 months. You can't write King of the Walls, home. Don't ever write King of the Walls again. No problem. I scratched King of the Walls out. I wrote Cornbread, King of the Walls, and put a crown on. I said, all kings wear crowns. That was the first crown. Everybody wears a fucking crown.
Everybody wears a crown now. There's crowns all over the place now, right?
Yeah. So Boscow took my crown and died with it. Banksy, guess what he took from me?
Who's that?
My elephant. Banksy is the richest graph artist in the world.
Yeah.
Right. And he wrote his name, I don't think it's a real elephant, but he got his name put on the elephant somewhere. I don't think it was a real one. And made it his. Took my elephant and made it his.
We're going to get started, Cornbread. So the way I normally do this is like we normally pour a drink and we talk till the drink is done.
We got to drink.
We're going to drink over this water, right? So we good. We can toast over this water. And first of all, brother, I just want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
For giving me a couple minutes of your time, man, to just rap with you and get to know you a little bit better, man, and just, understand what the first element is all about.
The first element is all about, in 1965, we did not use the word hip hop. We did not use the word graffiti. Why do you think that is?
Well, I'm going to go with that they didn't exist.
And with that being said, there was no hip hop artist, there was no graffiti artist that was before me. I am the world's first modern day graffiti artist, the youngest person ever to establish an international art movement. I changed the historical course of my generation and gave birth to a global phenomenon. The word graffiti, we didn't use it because there was none. I came from a reform school in 1967. Prior to me coming home, I spent 2 years at YDC, Youth Development Center. And there, I interacted with a lot of gang members who controlled the institution. And I befriended a lot of gang members by writing poetic love letters to their girlfriends. And we became tight. When I seen their nickname on the wall, I wrote my nickname next to theirs, really big. There's nothing said about it because we was cool like that. And every time I see a gang member's name written on the wall, I would go write my name next to his. And every time I see a gang, there was hundreds of gang members.
Yeah.
And I wrote my name all over that was my twist. It got to the point where there was no other room to write my name, so I just started writing Cornbread. Everyone, the blackboards, school books, commissary, the vision room, the church, the cafeteria, the gym. I wrote Cornbread everywhere. And the people in the administration thought that I suffered from some type of mental disturbance and referred me to see a psychiatrist. And when they approached me about why you writing your name on the walls, for my attitude I asked them, you don't bother the gang members, why you bothering me? And they said, well, look at the mess you made. Yeah, but alternatively, you clean it up, but we're gonna put you in a hole. I'm like, in front of the gang members, put me in a hole, take me to the hole. And the gang members like, okay, Bread. So I go to the hole, spend a few days in the hole. I comes out with my rebellious, defiant disorder. I resume to writing Cornbread on the walls again. So they think I thought I had suffered a mental deficit and referred me to the psychiatrist. So I go to the psychiatrist and said, why are you writing the name all over the institution, man? You got a problem? I said, I don't have a problem, but you ain't seen shit yet. We'll take it out of here. I'm gonna set the world on fire. The world was not prepared for my prediction. When I came home in 1967, I started writing bus routes. There was no graffiti nowhere. The only graffiti seen was by gang members who wrote on walls to identify their turf.
Yeah.
And that was cool with me, because I know a lot of them. But I went into their different turfs because I befriend them. I went to different turfs. They always told me, Cornbread, you come home, make sure you come down our way and drink wine with us. And I made it my business to go to every gang turf I knew, all over the city, drinking wine. Never caught the bus to go in there. I always walked. I always walked writing Cornbread everywhere. My name became a new phenomenon, and people wanted to know who was Cornbread. It's in the name. I was something brand new. I am the birth of a new culture. I am the new phenomenon. I changed the world. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm just telling you the truth.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is. Right? So I'm going to work one day, And I always bought the newspaper so I can read while I ride. And on the front page it read, Cornbread is shot to death. Oh, it got to be another Cornbread. Story on page 3. I turned to page 3 and it read, the fantastic career of Philadelphia best-known graffiti artist came to a violent end Sunday outside a hotel and bar. I'm reading about my own demise. I'm reading about my own death.
Yeah.
What happened, the person got killed, his name was Cornelius, and they got it mixed up. Corn landed in the street with his brains blew out. People walking by, oh, somebody killed Corn. Corn is shot. Oh, Corn is dead. The media automatically assumed the Corn, short for Cornelius, was the Corn, short for Cornbread, and erroneously announced my demise. I'm riding a bus, reading about my own death. It became a prescription for disaster. I knew I had to do something bizarre. I knew I had to do something amazingly bizarre to let the media know that I was still around so they could reprint the story and get the story right. I had pondered countless possibilities. Everybody was talking. When Corn funeral goes down and you don't straighten this issue out, your reputation is going to the grave with them. Nobody comes back from the dead. I knew I had 7 days to correct this mistake the media made. And I decided to go to the zoo and bomb the whole zoo out.
Hold on. So before you go into that, what did you not do? Like, what were some of the things you thought about doing?
Well, let me tell you what I did.
Before you got to the zoo.
Let me tell you what I did do.
Okay.
I started writing The Real Cornbread is Not Dead, but that didn't have no impact on the general public because it wasn't just the Daily News that covered the story. It was the Daily News, the Inquirer, the Bulletin, and I could have been, in fact, when I called the newspapers to ask them to screen out the story, they thought I was imposter. I said, look, you got your article right. You got your article wrong. You better screen out your article. So the guy said, article, what are you talking about? Who is this? I said, this is Cornbread. I'm not dead. He said, Cornbread is gone, man. Let Cornbread rest in peace, man. You are an imposter. Let Cornbread rest in peace. He hung up on me. I called him right back. I said, man, you better get your story right. I would tear this fucking town up. You better get your story right home. I'm not playing with you. Find something else better to do, man. Let Cornbread rest in peace. He hung up on me again. And I'm like, damn, they don't listen to me. What I got to do? So I start writing The Real Cornbread is no impact, no cover stories, no nothing. Nothing. I mean, nobody's not picking up on them trying to convey. So I took matters in my own hands, man. And I decided to go to the zoo and bomb the whole zoo out because the zoo was a tourist attraction. And I knew that anybody went to the zoo and seen the zoo, they would know that I'm not there because I'm going to bomb the fucking zoo out. So I went to the zoo. I seen all these people mulling around the pit where the elephant was at. So I walked over there to see what had their attention, and it was the zookeeper showering the elephant down with the hose, taking pictures. He grabbed the elephant by his trunk and, showing it for the crowd. And, he would hold his hand on the elephant torso, making human contact with the elephant. And I'm watching all this, and I didn't see where his life was in jeopardy. And I concluded, if he can do it, so can I. Before I got in the pit with him, I went to the zoo 3 times, and I watched this zookeeper interact with the elephant. People throwing peanuts at him, and he was rigging up the peanuts, rigging up his waist and showboating for the elephant, taking pictures. And the more I seen it, the more hard I got. I can do that. The 3rd day, I got up Sunday early morning. My mind was made up. I'm going in that pit. I got up that Sunday morning. So I said, let me go there before it opens. I go to the zoo, I camped at the back, went to the back, climbed over the fence, came down to the enclosure where he was at, and I hopped into the pit. When I hopped into the pit, I took the spray can off. I started shaking the can. I struck his attention. He turned around. He looked at me and acted like I wasn't there. I got mad. I'm not getting mad. I got mad because I thought this was going to be a challenge. This was a piece of cake. This was some bullshit. I was expecting.
You wanted to resist.
I wanted some action.
You needed a story.
Right. So I walked up to him. He stood right there like I was writing one of blackboard. I wrote, cornbread lives. I said, oh. I read on the other side, cornbread lives. There's nothing to it, man. So I wasn't satisfied. So I came out the pit, and guess what was there?
What was that?
The entire zoo was at my disposal. I bombed the zoo out. That was my show's intention. I bombed the zoo out. Now, had I came out that pit and went straight to the turnstile and left the zoo, I would have got away. I must have spent about another 15 minutes bombing right all over the zoo, right my name all over the place, man. Somebody was in that zoo, and soon I was done.
Probably a zookeeper.
No.
Somebody, no?
Somebody called the cops on me. I'm coming to the turnstile. Shoot, 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 shoot. Don't run. Don't run. Put your hands up in the air. All these parked cars. I said, oh my God. I put my hands up behind you. Took me into custody. Took me to the police station. I'm up all night because I want to be at the zoo early in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm tired. So I'm laying down. I'm not worried about it. I ain't killed nobody. Every 5 minutes. Which one of y'all was cornbread? I said, here, man. Hey, kid, give me an autograph. This was all, I couldn't get no sleep. All the rest of the guys, yo, who was you, cornbread? What you do, man? What's up with you, man?
Cops asking for your autograph.
Yeah, they didn't know who I was, man. They didn't know I was. I'm just getting my shit started. I hadn't came international yet. And I goes in front of the judge, man. The judge is more interested in why do I write my name than what I'm in front of him for. He sent his officer, get his autograph. The judge asked me for an autograph. When he got my autograph, I knew he was not going to hurt me.
Yeah.
So they looked at my record, they put me in a community-based program, which entails me going to school every day and going to work every day. If you went to school, you got a half a point. If you went to school and went to work, you got a point and a half.
Okay.
So you needed 50 points to get out of this big community-based program. My mom going, my grandmom going. I had something like 60, 65 points. I wasn't complaining because I was better off there stealing clean sheets, eating food, and coming back having to struggle to survive.
Facts.
So I knew my time was I knew my time was up. I was just standing there trying to bide state as long as I could.
So you need 50 to get out. You had 65 plus.
Right.
Just riding
I'm just
for the bed and the meat.
Right. Mom gone, grandmom gone. Come home to what?
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
I didn't see the 6th grade and the 7th grade when I put me away. I put me away in the 5th grade. I came on the 8th grade, and my sister used to send me a lot of poetic books. My oldest brother, he used to have a lot of girlfriends, and a lot of his girlfriends used to send a lot of poetic love letters, love letters to each other.
Yeah.
And I used to intercede and read his letters, right? And he man, stop reading my shit, man, right? And I was entwined with what they were saying to each other. I retained that. So when I read the poetry books, I retained that. So when I started writing the poetic love letters to the gang members, to the girlfriends, I would use what I retained. And I would read it to them face and capitalize them. Capitalize them. And it was like, Cornbread, I need that, man. I said, well, I need a couple of candy bars, a bag of chips.
So you was hustling love letters. Joint.
So that was big. I was like, all my new thing, I was writing letters, and I was cool with the gang. And Brad, you get out, make sure you come out of the way, drink wine with us. And nobody else could have done that.
Yeah.
At that time, the streets are not dangerous today. They're not.
That's a lot, dude. Because they pretty dangerous today.
No,
man.
not
like it was
when I was coming up. Every 4 or 5 blocks was a different gang. You could get killed just by telling the gang you from nowhere. You know why? Because the ignorant gang members always thought that nowhere was the biggest gang. Everybody's from nowhere.
Everybody's from nowhere.
Kill that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And you lost your life, man, just by being nowhere.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I knew all the gang members.
Yeah.
I come down and stop me, yo, who was you? Where Mighty Mouse at? Who that? I says, Cornbread. Yo, what's up, dog? Everywhere I go, and I'm gonna write your name, I'm gonna write your fucking name. And that's the way it was. I wrote my name everywhere.
So now, how did you get the name?
See, my grandparents were Hebrew Israelites.
Okay.
And my grandmom had a lot of this, on the Sabbath day, we sit down and be quiet, and Sunday have these great big dinners, and she always made cornbread, but she always made a pot of small cornbread for me, was I would eat up all the cornbread. So when I got locked up, a lot of times we would go to the cafeteria, get our food, do the buffet. And the last thing we went about was the bread. The bread be kind of hard, man, kind of stale. Like, I took that kind of personal. So I walked in the back to the kitchen and asked the worker, who's in charge? They said, Mrs. Swanson's in charge. I said, where can I find Mrs. Swanson?
How old were you at this point?
I was 11. I was 11. Yeah. I was 11. And I knocked on his door. He said, who is it? Come in. Open the door. He said, what can I do for you? That's the first thing I said was, Mrs. Swanson, my grandma make the best cornbread in the world.
You're like, he can't.
He said, excuse me? I said, my grandma make the best cornbread in the world. And a lot of times when seeing her get to the cafeteria, the bread be kind of stale. And I was wondering if it's nothing but a demonstration, would you consider putting some cornbread on the mill? My grandma makes some real good cornbread, man. He said, I'm a real busy person. First of all, who gave you permission to come into my kitchen? I said, nobody. He said, well, the next thing, you get the fuck out of my kitchen and don't come back and talking that cornbread shit. I'm a busy person. I got things I got to do. Take a walk. I said, Mr. Don't make me stand there. Get your ass out of my kitchen. Get out. Take a walk. I left. 2 days later, I'm back in Mrs. Swanson's kitchen again. I said, Mr. Swanson, can I talk to you? I'm not trying to be teacher. He said, man, if you don't get the fuck out of here, I'm going to break my foot off your hands. Get the fuck out of my kitchen. He was real strict this time. Mm-hmm. And I seen him, I was agitated on his nerves, right? So I left. 2 days later, I'm back in his kitchen again. So this time I walk in, the kitchen worker see me coming. Hey, Mr. Swanson, your boy here. He said, my boy who? He said, your boy Cornbread. He said, you, come here, man. Come here, Cornbread. I said, Mr. Swanson, I'm not trying to, let's fucking go. He just gripped me at the end and lift my foot up. What tell you about come harassing me? I got your ass there. You keep coming with this bullshit, cornbread bullshit. Let's go. I'm taking the kitchen myself. Open the door of the cafeteria, but saying, Mr. Love! Everybody kept turning around. Got them all gripped up. Everybody laughing and shit. Mr. Love, keep this fucking cornbread out my kitchen and threw me on the floor. I slid across the floor. I said, everybody started laughing at me and shit. Cornbread laughing, teasing me and shit. I didn't say nothing. I didn't mind them calling me cornbread. I didn't mind them. I got me a nickname, right? Spooky Boo. I mean, nobody got better nicknames than gang members.
True.
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody got better nicknames than gang members, right? I didn't have a name. But Mr. Swanson called me Cornbread.
Gave you a name.
And everybody started calling themselves, teasing me, Cornbread. I didn't mind that at all. I get back to my unit, I write Cornbread on the back of my shirt. I start writing Cornbread all over the institution. That was the birth of hip-hop. That was the first element of hip-hop. And I said, when the psychologist told me, why do you do it? I told him, you ain't seen shit yet. When I go home, I'm gonna set the world on fire. Like I said, the world was unprepared for my prediction. I start walking bus routes. I start writing Cornbread everywhere. And I just wanted to make, and I was never an athlete. I'm not an entertainer. You know, I don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
But I wanted that exposure.
To be recognized.
I wanted this is who I am.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And that was your only purpose.
Yeah.
It's just for the acknowledgement, the recognition, for people to know who you were.
Right,
there was no other drive for you?
Well, at that time, no, because I was really coming out of it.
Yeah.
I was really coming. I would eventually grew out of that. But when Cornelius got killed, I had a point to prove. I wanted to, be recognized. I'm still alive. I didn't do all this in vain.
Yeah.
Right. So when Cornelius got killed, and I got the major coverage, I liked that. I liked reading about I fell in love with reading about myself in the newspapers, and I would do anything for the media to write about me. I was listening to the radio one night, and I seen where Georgie Woods announced on the radio that the Jackson 5 was coming to Philly to do a battle against the 5 Stair Steps. And when he announced that they're coming to do a show, that you can also meet them and greet them on the tarmac at the airport.
Okay.
I'm like, damn, this shit don't never stop. I mean, I seen an opportunity for me to go down and make another splash in the newspapers. So my thing now, I wrote my name on the elephant. They're talking about this. If I can write on this jet, this would make me the elite graffiti artist of the world. And I knew that. I knew that. I mean, you have artists writing on walls and doing throw-ups and murals and things like that. That's cool. That's real cool.
Yeah.
But to write on a live elephant and a jet, that's mega history type shit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they kept talking about the Jackson 5 was coming to Philly, and the more they talked about it, the more I anticipated. I hear about that advertisement on the radio, and my hands started sweating because I knew what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And the day of their arrival, must have been my 60, maybe 70 people at the airport. I got spray paint in my jacket pocket right there. I didn't go down to see the Jackson 5. The plane comes, it lands, steps us down. Michael Jackson came to the top of the stairwell. They would kiss everybody. Everybody went ballistic. Michael, Tito, Amado, Jack, and Jermaine came down the steps, hooping and hollering, screaming. Everything's ballistic, out of control. In the midst of the confusion, as they up the steps, hold on to the rail, right? Cornbread on the jet. I come down the steps, go into the terminal. I didn't pay them no attention.
Yeah.
Got myself in a seat, got myself something to drink. I sat there and waited for that plane to take off. I seen the propellers going around. I said, that's what I'm talking about. Plane back this way, went that way, and the faster we came, the louder became airborne. Ooh, and I see my name. I said, yes, yes. I had a mental orgasm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you that. I said, yes, yes, yes. So that act alone was passed out because I promoted that. They talked about that like they talked about Jesus.
Yeah, it is.
It is like everything I did turned to gold. Everything is just everything.
Yeah, it's big.
Because I was the first.
Yeah.
I was the first, right?
And you was doing it big.
Yeah.
Like you wasn't just, the walls wasn't enough.
Yeah, yeah. In the early 60s, Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia teenagers underwent a unique experience unlike any other city in America.
Meaning?
150,000 teenagers had found themselves in a social uprise. And we adopted college fraternity names to identify ourselves. That was the Philadelphia Philly Street Fraternity. Our annual convention was in Atlantic City before the casinos was built. All the casinos down there, man, 150,000 teenagers emerged and consumed all the hotels. Every hotel had a ballroom, and every ballroom there was a battle. And all we did was dress, dance, step on each other, rap. What's hip hop, Philly hip hop consisted way long before it reached the Bronx. There was rappers, dancers, and we dressed up. We dressed to impress each other. When that movement migrated to New York, the foundation was already established. The Bronx put a title on it and called it hip hop. But we was overlooked because when that movement migrated to New York and they put a title and called it hip hop, you had investors,
Yes.
bankers, people with money, people who would invest the money, investors us into the artists. Them artists just like us, just as poor as they wanted to be when they put them on
But
stage.
you had the machine behind it.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't Philly didn't have. You know why? You know why Philly didn't have it? Because it started here. It was new and it was ugly.
It was ugly in New York too, man.
Well,
it was a little different.
Wait.
It wasn't.
It was vandalism here.
Yeah.
But by the time I got to New York, it was semi-art, and then became real art.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
But it all started here. The hip hop culture, the graffiti culture. Come on. At that time, when New York was experiencing a heroin epidemic, there was no hip hop in the street. There was no hip hop in the street, but Philly was getting it in.
So, when, like I said earlier, when we was rapping, and you introduced yourself to me when we met at the event, at Tame's event, and you introduced yourself as the first element.
Yes.
Right? And like I said, it took me some time. It took me actually to go back and revisit some of the stuff, a little Google search, YouTube search, and I started thinking about the idea of the first element. And I was like, dude, this is what he meant by the first element, is like he's the first element of this culture, of this hip hop culture.
I'm of the entire culture, the new
Yes.
the new world culture.
Correct. Like, and so for somebody like me, like I was saying earlier, for somebody like me who I tend to tell people that I'm the first generation raised on hip hop. You know, that was my music. That was my lifestyle. That was graffiti artists were my Michelangelos. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I seen. This is what I admired. This is what I engulfed myself in.
Mm-hmm.
So meeting you and realizing the role that you played in that,
Did you do your history? Did you check history?
as far as
My history, as far as where I come in at, how it started, who was in the beginning.
I did not,
Oh, okay.
and I apologize for that.
All right.
I didn't go as far back as I probably should have.
Well, history speaks for itself. I mean, we didn't use the word hip hop in '65. We didn't use the word graffiti in '65.
They didn't exist.
But Cornbread was there in '65.
Cornbread was here in '65,
Yeah.
and so there it is, right?
Yeah. And the gangs eventually became part of us because we dressed up, we had nice clothes, we had nice cars, we had girlfriends all over the city, we looked good, we was young, and we got around, we partied. You get the gamers on the corner drinking wine, stabbing each other, talking about each other's mom, looking bummy.
Yeah.
They get tired of that.
Ain't no fun in that.
There ain't no fun in that, you know. So everyone hang out with us. And before you know it, the streets was clear of gangs. The Philadelphia street fraternity took the streets over. That was the first wave of the hip hop revolution.
So the Philadelphia Street Fraternity
Exactly.
was actually the first like hip hop crew.
Exactly. I can't take anything away from New York. New York did this better than we ever did it. They did not 1 and 2 levels higher, 5 or 6 levels higher, because they had investors. People was
Yeah.
putting hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
These guys are wearing 14 karat golds right now. I mean, come on. I'm looking. I said, what? We didn't get none of that. We was totally overlooked, you know. But the foundation was already established, and all roads lead back to me. Let the truth be told. What's his name? The DJ in the New York.
Funk
Kool
Flex.
Herc.
Kool Herc.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know him, but I got much love for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard it to him. This is Kool Herc, the father of hip hop. I just got back from Japan. Yeah, so I love.
What do you think about that?
I love him. I love him.
Yeah, of
I
course,
love
right?
him. I love
Of
him.
course you do, right? But like Kool Herc is recognized as the father of hip hop.
Well,
But you the first element.
Well, for
but
history-
maybe he is the father of hip hop, right? The hip hop didn't exist.
Well, I'm the first element.
You're the first element, but you know there was no hip hop.
There was no hip hop.
It didn't exist yet.
There was a foundation.
There's a foundation,
Yeah, the
right?
foundation.
But maybe once it all came together and became hip hop, he's the father of that. Maybe I don't know. I'm just trying to make it make sense, right?
I'll give hip hop. I'll give Kool Herc all the credit in the world.
Correct.
He is the father of hip hop. But I gotta go back to Denzel. I gotta go back to Denzel when they made American Gangster. I knew what was going to New York. Of course, I went to New York to be entertained.
Correct.
They was walking around New York like zombies by the
the
tens of
heroin game was
thousands.
crazy back in
And
the
I said, I don't believe this shit. I don't believe it. We was getting our shit in before Herc was the father of hip hop.
Got you. Got
You know what I'm saying? And it was years later, what I call late, he called himself the father of hip hop. He's the father of hip hop. I love him to death. I know,
first element.
but I know I started this shit.
You start. It's beautiful, man, because like I said, man, I'm meeting a legend, man. I'm meeting someone who crafted a culture that crafted me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's deep. You know what I'm saying? In the sense that this was something that I've probably put myself in situations I shouldn't have been in to enjoy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Went places my mother told me not to go. Did things I had no business doing.
Right.
Got caught up in situations that if I'd have just kept my black ass in play where I didn't,
Right.
you know, chasing after this culture.
Right.
Wanting
Right.
to be part of
Right.
this culture.
And you never heard about Cornbread?
Never heard about Cornbread.
That's because you're from New York.
Hey, listen, man.
So when did you hear about Cornbread? Through Tammart's?
Let me think. No, I had heard of you prior to that. And I had heard the name Cornbread, and I had heard about this dude who was the founder of Graffiti writing. But I didn't have any reference point, and I didn't do any research, right? So I didn't have any, and really still, for me, I was like, yeah, whatever, man. This Cornbread cat, like I hear him talking, but this shit started in New York. You can tell me what you want.
Are you convinced?
I'm convinced now. You know, when I was young,
me and my wife went to a show about 3 weeks ago.